Guy, and he wrote a book called I think it was The Ways of the Superior Man. His name was David Data. I thought it was a pretty interesting book. Uh, Read it, oh, maybe a year or two ago, maybe even 3 years ago. And one of the things I thought was cool that he talked about that I might want to touch on at some point is the fact that we all have varying degrees of masculine and feminine in our character, in our makeup, in our psyche, and you have to learn to figure out which ones that you have the most of in areas and honor them because they'll allow you to be just a better you and offer more of what makes you you to the world. And so one of the things I really thought was cool was he talked about the fact that masculine energy isn't necessarily a byproduct of gender, nor is feminine. It's a byproduct of our psychology, um, the environment that you're raised in, as well as some of your basic, internal makeup. Because there are some people that think that some of the things that we do are genetically inherited, and some pieces are nurtured. And so there's nurture versus nature. I'm a believer that maybe both are possible. What I found is that the masculine being the more penetrating energy, there are going to be some people, women, men, even children, that maybe have that more penetrating, expansive, aggressive nature, just born with it. Some people are just born with it, and the gender isn't really an issue. It depends on the person. Just like there are people who he called it radiance, the way that a woman, will come in and her essence will pervade a space, and she's allowed to radiate out. It's still expansive and it still pervades, but it's not the same as the penetrating masculine, which is probably a little more direct. It's kind of like the difference between electric, and magnetic, and so they're related to each other, but depending on the situation, one or the other is going to hold sway and be more productive and suitable for that environment. And so I think it's the same with people. You have to figure out what your gifts are, and some of them are going to be masculine and feminine, and you have to honor that. If you're a masculine woman, then and that's part of your nature, and it's what makes you feel natural and normal, then you have to honor that. And you, of course, are going to have to pick somebody who matches you in some way or complements you in others. So you may either pick an overly masculine man to give you the sense of femininity, or you may have to pick a feminine man to complement you, so that your various energies and interplay is better. Same thing with a feminine, man. Obviously, he's not going to pick another feminine woman typically, unless there's enough things that are not in common where they complement each other. They always talk about opposites attract, but similarities bind. I tend to believe that's true. So you're going to look at somebody who likely is going to pick their complement, not the direct opposite now. No, the complement. So someone that's got to complete them in some way or match them in ways that are going to make everything flow much smoother. And so, when you got a masculine man who picks a masculine woman, there are going to be times when they are going to have a lot more challenges than if they picked a complementary partner, because they're both going to want to take control. They're both going to want to be the boss. They're both going to want to penetrate, and overcome and expand and maybe crush, dominate. And so there's always going to be that struggle of wills, that battle of wills, versus where you get somebody, say, who is masculine and a feminine person, whether it's male or female. They're going to complement each other, because the feminine is going to radiate into the masculine's area, and the masculine is going to penetrate and give some direction and purpose and strength to the feminine. if you get two feminine people, you're going to find people who are going to maybe be catty with each other, compete with each other, be uh, affected by one another's radiance and maybe feel threatened by that. I mean, and again, I'm no freaking psychology expert. I'm just saying these are just things that just pop into your head just when you think about it. So, anyway, just again, it's stuff that I think about, and like I say, the book was very helpful in that way, in that aspect, and it gave me some ideas about figuring out what parts of me were masculine and feminine. Because I've definitely come off visually as somebody more masculine, but actually I have quite a bit of feminine nature, so it's not uncommon for me to be attracted to a woman that's strong, but also knows when to be a woman. Just like the masculine side of me needs a woman who knows when to be a lady and when not to be, So, I mean, again, you have that interplay, that flex and flow, and you have to figure it out for yourself. You have to figure out how to make it work, and you have to figure out how to make it work both in your friendships, your business relationships, your relationships with a significant other, and, you got to pick accordingly. So, it is what it is.